Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I want to show you my erasable pens. So I've been using these Pilot erasable pens for years now. I used to teach trust accounting to adults, and although we taught them the computerized way, we also taught them manually. And I noticed that my students would be very distressed if they wrote down their answer in their book and it wasn't correct and they wanted to correct it. In trust accounting, you're not allowed to use correction fluid or whiteout, and they didn't like the look of crossing it out and initialing the mistake. So I told them about these erasable pens, and my students bought so many of them, it was unbelievable. They bought the black, the blue, the orange and the red, and I think the green was what they initially came in, these colours. You can't use them for legal work, obviously, because they're erasable, so you can't use them to sign documents, etc., because anyone that's got a pen can erase out the signature. So that would defeat the purpose. But they're fabulous for things like students learning, or I use them all the time in my diary and my bulletproof journal, because if I change my mind on an appointment or whatnot, I don't like the look of mess either in my diary, and so I just erase it out. And I actually won't let my partner use my erasable pens. I call them my special pens, and I keep them well hidden, so don't tell him where they are, okay? They're in the colouring cave. But more importantly, these erasable pens have changed over the last year or so, and if you're in my Facebook colouring group, you'll remember if you've been there right from the beginning, you'll remember the first couple of weeks when we started, I did Facebook Lives on a Sunday with sort of a catch-up and a coffee, and I showed everyone these erasable pens that I'd purchased at Officeworks back then, so last August. Yes, I'm running behind on showing everyone else. What a surprise. And so these are the ones that I bought last year at Officeworks in Australia. In the US, you can get these on Amazon, and you can buy them in packets. In Australia, you can buy them open stock at Officeworks. And since the days of these pens, that were originally released, they've come out with rainbows of colours, but not only rainbows of colours, also different nib sizes and different things. Nowadays, instead of just the plain boring pen that I use for my diary and whatnot, now you can get all sorts of different colours. So you can get, and this is not their complete range. For once, I haven't actually bought everything. I've only bought a few things. So you can get a chisel nib, and this is like a highlighter. So you can use this as a base underneath any of your colouring, and then you can just pop pencil over it, and if you make a mistake, it's super easy just to turn the pen over and erase it out. So if you've got a complicated and detailed book like this, and you have a minor visual impairment, for instance, or you're just like me and don't like wearing your glasses, then you can just use this, pop in your colour, that's fine. And if you've gone out of the edge, and I've gone out of the edge there on purpose, but I also don't have my glasses on, you can just erase it out and it's all gone. So it gives you a lot more confidence, just like it did with my students, to know that, all of these little mistakes that we sometimes make, especially if we don't pop on our glasses or we're working in dim lighting or got a minor visual impairment. So we can just pop in and erase any little oopsies. So for patterns that are super detailed like this, they're great, and you can use these highlighter ones just as a base, pop your pencils over it, or just use it, as I have done solid up there. They've got so many different colours, so we've got this pink in the highlighter, and again, I actually didn't buy everything. And also I am working without my glasses, so I will go out of the lines heaps. but it doesn't matter. So I go over there out of the line, no big deal, turn it over, rub it out, no problems. And it doesn't leave any dust. I just do that flicking thing naturally. And they've got also a really super fine gel pen. You can get this in tons of different colours, and again it's an erasable gel pen. So you've got the normal pens, you've got highlighter pens, and you've also got gel pens in a range of colours. So that's the gel pen that I've used there, and again all erasable, so if you go out of the lines it's no big deal. Also, these don't produce huge amounts of liquid, so they're not going to smear everywhere like some gel pens do. Now, the negatives with them are that there's no refills as far as I know. There's certainly none in Australia. So that's a bit of a shame because you need to buy a new pen. And in our Officeworks, because they sell them open stock, a couple that I purchased initially, they already ran out of ink, you know, in no time flat, because everyone was using them in the shop display. So, you know, if you are going to use them, make sure you test them out first and don't just grab them from the rack. Now you can see that these ones are super fine point, so there's all different types of nib sizes you can get. So if I want to do these like little itty bitty dots over here, and whoops, made a mistake. It's not a problem. Turn it upside down and rub it out. Different nib sizes, different colour range, different purposes. See, the nib on this one is a lot bigger than on the previous nib I showed you. So if we've got something that's slightly larger, and whoops, we've made a mistake. I don't want that inner bit pink, so just going to rub it out. Now the problem with these little tiny spaces is, there we go, there, got it. So we've got the gel pens, and we've got this huge range of nibs. So this one is a different nib again. Great thing about this test is I actually don't have my glasses on, so I can barely see where we're going. So I hope I'm rubbing out the right areas. You can see I've gone a little bit out of the lines in there. Now the problem is that the eraser is on this brand is at the end, but it's quite big, so it's not a fine bit. So if you're going to get into little itty bitty areas like this, because it's near another part that we've coloured, you might end up erasing some of the other colour, because it's hard to get into small spaces to erase. So it works better on the larger areas, but that's okay. I've taken a bit off, but I can just put it back on again. And these ones are like markers, these ones with this nib. You've got the fine liner look, you've got the highlighter look, and you've also got the gel pen type look. Now I do have to say, with the gel pens, initially when you're using them, they do feel a bit scratchy, you know, so it does take them a little bit for the fluid to sort of disperse and not have that scratchy feel. And these ones are like the true marker ones, they're the friction colours, and I really like these a lot more than the gel pens, only because I like the feel of them. They just feel like a marker. So I've gone out of the lines there, so we'll just rub that out, and the eraser is on that end here, and now it's gone. You can also erase some highlights into your work, so if you wanted to put like a white shadow, you know, take some colour off, you can do that with the eraser. Although, as I said earlier, the tip of that eraser is quite big, so if you wanted fine erasing, it's going to be a bit hard. But you can take a pinch off there if you've got the area for it, just to add in or take out some colour. So there we have it, erasable pens. You've got them in gel pen format, texture format, fine point format, a huge variety of colours. Absolutely fabulous for very detailed patterned work, particularly if you have a minor visual impairment or a motor impairment, or you work in dim lighting. Great for erasing. Lots of different colours, highlighters, different tips, heaps of uses for them. And if you don't like using them for colouring, you can always use them for your journaling if you're into journals. So that's it for me today. Until next time, happy colouring.